Hey everybody, I am very excited today to announce that we will be starting the CNSL Season 7, that's CasterMuse's Narak StarLeague, and this is the 7th season. I have casted multiple seasons on the channel before that you can go back and look at, but basically what this tournament is, well, there's a lot of pro gamers out there, and not all of them can qualify for ASL. So we have taken the top 32 players that did not make it into ASL that, are interested in playing in the tournament, and they are going to play an ASL style tournament against each other. I think it's a fantastic tournament. It's definitely one of my absolute favorites. And today marks when we're starting it. So the round of 32, it's all going to be best of one. This video is going to contain the entirety of Group A. So Motive, ZhanHun, Leta, and True. Just taking a look at the players. I do have to say it's a pretty tight group. I do think Motive and Leta are probably just slightly favored to get out, but anything can happen in these best of one series. So yeah, we are going to go ahead and get started. Of course, make sure you're showing CasterMuse love. And a big thank you to everyone who has supported ArtosisCasts on Patreon. Because of your support, ArtosisCasts, the channel, is a partial sponsor of this CNSL season. So a big thanks to everyone there. Very excited for this. And you know what? Without further ado, let's do it. Let's get into Group A. We're going to game number 1. And here we go. In the bottom right here, we have the Chinese Protoss player. He is ZhanHun. In the top left, we have Motive. Now, both these guys are very, very strong. ZhanHun did fantastically in the ASL Season 17 qualifiers. Really showed himself to be a super strong player there. Didn't make it in, of course, but I believe he made it furthest out of all the non-Korean players, getting to the finals of his group, if I'm remembering this correctly. Motive, I've casted a lot of games of Motive over the last maybe 2 years or so on this channel, because he is one of the strongest Protoss players that's not in ASL yet. Definitely a very scary Protoss that you're gonna have to really look out for in the future. It's, there's a handful of players of each race where they're really close to making it big time. And, this is one of the reasons why I love the CasterMuse Narak StarLeague, because there's so many strong StarCraft 1 pros, and I want to see them all play. I've seen a lot of people, as I've been casting ASL Tasteless, say, oh man, why don't they expand it? Why don't they make a round of 48 or something in the ASL? And it's okay, yeah, I get it. I want to see those extra players as well. For instance, the players in a tournament like this, would they win ASL? Probably not, right? But can they beat everyone in it? Yeah. So, there's just a lot of high quality games that we don't get to see in ASL. And the fact that CasterMuse puts on a tournament such as the CNSL, where we get to see these players play for a really reasonable prize pool against each other, playing the same types of maps, and in a nice tournament format that's the same basically as ASL. It's a great thing. So I do hope you guys enjoy. Please make sure you leave a comment and a like on the video. Let me know if you like the CNSL. Maybe you should watch it first, but yeah, I'm just excited. I've been bugging CasterMuse for last month about when this was going to start so I could start casting it. And he promptly sent me the replays. So you'll be seeing, as these groups are played, videos popping up on the channel. And of course, I will be having other regular videos in between there as well. So yeah, we are on Radion right now. Okay. A 4-player map. And as you can see, they are cross spawns here. Looks like ZhanHun is going to get the scout off first, just barely, but there is a Zealot blocking this ramp. These reverse ramps are actually a little bit hard to stop workers coming up on. They're a little bit wider, so sometimes you can just kind of wiggle up there, whereas on a regular ramp, it's a little bit easier to block. And space ramps are actually just naturally a little bit wider than jungle ramps. It's a funny thing, right? People wonder why there's so many maps, for instance, on jungle tile sets. For competitive play, generally jungle is the best, but you can make maps on the other tile sets. Like all the tile sets are playable. Probably the worst tile set is the snow tile set. It's just, if you look at some of the terrain features they have, because they do function a little bit differently. Like, yeah, you have to be careful with like what tiles you use on snow maps. You know, snow maps, desert maps, and space maps all have wider ramps, right? So that's something you have to take into consideration. The most common ramps that we like are on like jungle tile set and Badlands, which is probably why you see those two tile sets played the most. Anyways, enough about that. I'm sure I'm boring some people about the intricacies of why we see various types of maps. But yeah, oh, also, like char tile set is pretty unused, just to throw that out there, right? Snow tile set is probably least used, with char second. A bunch of char tiles are very hard to see burrowed lurkers on because it's such dark ground. So yeah, that can be a little bit of an issue. So we don't see too many maps made on that. Okay, enough chit chat about that. We want to take a look at these builds. So ZhanHun here has gone for a 1-gate Nexus into 3 gates. So he's going to be going heavy Dragoons. He is cross map from Motive, so it makes sense in a way when you think about it, right? Like he is it's going to take a long time basically for Motive to rally units down. Will he be able to break ZhanHun before ZhanHun gets all this going? Let's take a look. Well, he's gone 2-gate Robo. So he is going to have a fair amount of Dragoons. Look at this. Right now, 4 Dragoons, 1 Zealot against 4 Dragoons. So that is advantage to Motive. But as ZhanHun gets more units out, I honestly think he's going to be completely fine. Very good micro. He gets to the ramp without losing anything. In fact, barely losing any real health. Just mostly shields, and that's good. And as he has another goon pop out, he will go back down the ramp. Notice 2 more are coming down. So when those 2 get here, there will be an advantage once again for Motive. But ZhanHun bringing his probes as well. And they're going to actually tank for him and come up and fight a little bit. Really important to kill that Zealot. Oh my gosh, the Zealot actually does get one. So that's pretty big. Losing several probes right now. But we have a couple more goons about to pop out. So right now, 5 goons against 4. The probe's still putting a little bit of extra damage on. More goons coming down the ramp here for ZhanHun. He's going to start picking off some of these. And look, 3 versus 2, but 2 of these are very badly hurt for Motive. So ZhanHun is going to end up holding. Now, who has the advantage here is, I think, a really interesting question. Because we do have 3 more probes over here for Motive, and he's going into Reaver. ZhanHun, on the other hand, yeah, he's down probes a little bit. He lost probes a little bit. He's got 3 gates. He does not have the Reaver tech, and he's going to catch up on probes, obviously, very quickly because of the double Nexus. So what I would say here is I personally like ZhanHun's position a little bit more, but there's a lot of play left in Motive's position, right? He's making his Nexus. He's getting into Reaver. The Reaver is going to be a big difference maker here, right? We might see him go into shuttle speed. We'll see about that. But right now, a Reaver is coming out. He has goons out on the front. And, well, ZhanHun is just kind of like patrolling the map a little bit. I don't know if he's maybe looking to catch a shuttle. That's what this position looks like to me. Because I think right now he's thinking, okay, there's probably like a Reaver on the way, something like that, right? So if he randomly catches a shuttle in a position like this, think about this, right? You're playing here. The map is dark as Motive. You want to get over here as quickly as possible. Well, you don't want to go through the center because it's most likely you'll meet something in the center. And you don't want to necessarily send your shuttle around the top of the map like this and down the side like that because it takes so long. So you might take an in-between path. So if you look at the in-between path, it's like, okay, well, don't go here because there's a fair chance there's something there. So at least go over into this dark area and then maybe down to the side. Like, what I'm trying to explain here is that ZhanHun's positioning is very, very, very smart. This is probably the exact line that's a very good balance of going outside of vision of your opponent, but also getting to the base very quickly. So he chose... This is actually, I really like it. It's a very wise position to stand in. It doesn't mean that he'll catch him. You never know exactly what your opponent's going to do, but this is a really reasonable guess that could literally win the game for him instantly if he catches the shuttle. Okay, looking back down here. Okay, a pylon. So he's got a few buildings spaced out. Those are also looking for shuttles. Look at the observer come down. Notice the observer come through the center. Now that's where we could see the shuttle, as it gets speed, go in a different direction. He's spotting. He's like, okay, you have a bunch of Dragoons here. ZhanHun sees this. He leaves the goons kind of central. And look, the observer is looking down this side. He's like, okay, what else is down here? But he left those goons in that position very purposefully. Okay? He really wants him to think his units are in the center so that he takes a quick route that dodges them and goes over these goons. This is like very exciting, very cool stuff. By the way, ZhanHun going into Observer, going into 5-gate. This is kind of reminds me how Rain plays PvP sometimes. Where it's like, yeah, I have the faster expansion, you have better tech, but I'm going to make a lot of Dragoons. Now, shuttle speed is almost ready here for Motive. He's got 2 gates. He's going up to 4. Looking at the probe count, it's very close with ZhanHun in a slight advantage here. We have the 2 Reavers being made. And getting ready to go in. Like, I think he'll pick up 2 Reavers here. I'd be surprised if he does something like... Is he... Huh. What are we doing here? Like, I think he'll pick up both Reavers. I'd be pretty surprised if he doesn't. Now, is he just going to walk out? I really don't know what the plan is here for Motive. Speed is done, so if he's going to make a move, this is probably the time. All right, he starts to come out with everything together. So he's not flying around. You know, ZhanHun has been very patient with this, but it doesn't look like that's going to end up working for him here today. Motive goes up to 6-gate. So 6-gate, 1 Robo Reaver is like basically perfect 2-base production in PvP. It's going to make you a lot of Dragoons, a lot of Reavers, and kind of like maximize your unit count while still kind of leaving room for you to get a 3rd Nexus eventually. Looking at ZhanHun, yeah, he's got a very good spread of pylons. Like, really well done. Notice he's got some anti-Reaver drop Dragoons there. He's got some in the main base. He's got a really good spread here. So his units are spread all over the place. I feel like he's canvassed this map. Like, the Chinese pro gamers are getting very, very good. If you look at this, like, he's canvassed the map so well, it's really hard to get anything by. Now, he might slip this by. Does ZhanHun actually see this? He does not see it right now. Like, this is one of the most magnificent shuttles ever. I think he dodged all vision. That's absurd. But there's an observer here, so he might actually catch this, especially if we start to have an engage here. Let's take a look. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh! 2 goon hits from death. So he saves his shuttle with the 2 Reavers. Incredibly important there for Motive. Motive moving through the center. The Dragoons are so spread for ZhanHun. He has to start pulling back. So he's going to lose a free goon here. Don't forget he has this group. He might come in for a flank. Dude, I really like how ZhanHun's playing this game for real. So strong. So good. The Reaver's coming back up here now for Motive. Motive comes towards the center. Oh my god. And ZhanHun's hidden Dragoons actually do end up sniping the shuttle, and they're going to kill the Reavers really quickly, although they did get some fantastic shots off. More units coming up here for ZhanHun. These Dragoons running away. He doesn't want to lose these for cheap. He wants to at least trade them reasonably here. Look, there is 1 goon here being caught, and he is going to rotate them around as well. 3 goons kind of waiting. Looks like he left 1 goon here. This might have just been frozen, or he might have left it to slow shots of his opponent, like make you stop to kill that Dragoon, because you have to stop to fire. Now, ZhanHun rotating those around. The Zealots that look like they already do have that speed upgrade coming down with these Dragoons. So Motive has to pull these back. Right now, Motive is down 11 workers. And that's about it, right? Army size is very, very similar. But we do have Reavers that are more valuable. Although the speed lots do help out, the Reavers can chunk down speed lots really, really quickly. So Motive right now, gathering his army together, coming for this engage. Let's see what his Reavers can add into this. Throws out a couple big Scarabs. The shuttle being targeted pretty heavily, so he can't really micro anymore. The flank coming in here from ZhanHun, and it looks like all the Reavers will be picked off, but a lot of goons left over here from Motive. Motive with a pretty masterful play here. I'm very impressed, because ZhanHun, it really felt like he was getting a bigger army. It felt like he was kind of out-positioning Motive, but Motive worked at it. He kind of fought back, brought his additional Reavers down, and has done a fantastic job. Now, taking a look at what the next step for each side is. ZhanHun has run away with 4 Dragoons. He's going to kind of hide these for a moment. He's starting to produce High Templars. Okay, High Templars with Storm are very good against Reavers. You throw down the Storm on the Reaver, and the Reaver can't dodge it, so you have to pick it up with a shuttle, which puts a ton of damage on the shuttle. So, like, Psy Storms are actually very, very, very good against Reavers. Obviously, a Reaver can one-shot a High Templar, so you do have to watch out for that as well. But as we're getting into this more mobile unit composition for ZhanHun, I feel like that could have some good benefits for him. Like, you know, Zealots actually just take more shots to kill for Dragoons and have higher DPS than Dragoons. So they're very, very tanky, very, very good. You have to micro heavily against them, and you do need those Reavers, which means that the Psy Storms are going to do pretty well as well. Also, just to mention, Motive doesn't have an attack upgrade yet. We do have one for ZhanHun. Man, this is actually a really excellent first game to start on. You know, as far as PvPs go, really dynamic, really interesting builds, great tactics utilized so far. ZhanHun is still up in workers as they both are getting their third bases. Third Nexus up a little bit quicker here for Motive. You know, Motive, yeah, he is still squeaking out some probes. ZhanHun is content to sit on 55. I think he's pretty right about that. I don't think you need to go into the 60s. You're probably not going to get into a fourth base here. It feels like this is, well, not exactly coming to a head because, like, for instance, he can't really attack over this bridge against Psystorm, right? I don't think so. The Reavers are going to come out, and we're going to see what he can do with that, but watch these Psystorms as ZhanHun casts them. Okay, he just kind of dodges that for now. Looks like he picks off an Observer. The Reavers coming back, maybe for a little bit of pushing. A couple cannons here to slow them down. ZhanHun starts to come out against pure Dragoon. Now, he's got Dragoon, Zealot, Psystorm. So let's see if he gets some of these Psystorms down. Beautiful Psystorm there. Another great one onto Motive's army. In come the Reavers. You are going to want to storm those. Let's see if he gets them. Yeah, throws that storm down, and the shuttle gets picked immediately. But it seems like Motive may have enough to just win this game right here, right now. Doing a fantastic job. Look at that. Really, I feel like ZhanHun played such a nice game, but you see why Motive is a Korean pro gamer. Just really showing the utmost skill, even in very difficult positions, knowing exactly how to steer himself towards a victory, because that's what this is starting to look like. Like, this is, the Reaver is still pretty high health. He still has Scarabs. More goons are rallying down. You know, a few Zealots are coming out, but you need a bigger mass than what ZhanHun has. He has the cannon, a couple goons. He's going to have to flank now. You know, basically Motive is forcing him into an engage here. You can't lose that base or the game's over. And he comes out with what he's got, but it's just not going to be enough. The Dragoons are trading so efficiently. A lot of gates there for ZhanHun still, but he's starting to lose some of his probe advantage. Comes up with the few units he has popping out, but still more goons coming down. As long as you keep that kind of critical mass of goons, you're really dealing a lot of damage every time ZhanHun tries to engage. ZhanHun is still kind of fighting back, but you can see the army supply is a lot larger since he's up about 10 probes. ZhanHun is, right? So Motive still has that big army advantage. He is going to have a Psystorm. Maybe if Motive sits inside of it, you have a chance. No. Looks like ZhanHun is going to GG. There we go. On to game number 2. All right, so we are getting into the second game here in Group A. This time, it's going to be True, our Zerg player in the top right, going up against Leta, our Terran player in the top left. So, talking about these players a little bit, I think a lot of you guys know who Leta is. He's been around for a very, very long time. Like the opposite of a macro Terran. This guy is someone who, for instance, this game, he might just go Mass Wraith. It's a possibility. It looks here like it's probably an 8 racks. But yeah, definitely a kind of aggressive tech player, right? Like he definitely does a lot of like proxy barracks play as well. Very, very aggressive in that regard. His opponent up here, True. He was more famous in StarCraft 1, a very aggressive in StarCraft 2, a very aggressive Zerg player in StarCraft 2, had some really good tournament finishes and a couple wins as well, and did switch back to StarCraft 1 a couple years ago. And he's been quite good. He's been really strong. Not quite that ASL level, of course, as he is in the CNSL, but a very good player indeed. Now, looking at Leta, 1 proxy 8 racks. So generally, when you go 1 proxy 8 racks, you're going to have to go gas with that. You know, so to put this out there, right? Like as a little guide, a beginner's guide to what you're looking at with proxy barracks against Zerg. If you go 2 proxy barracks, it's a complete all-in. You're playing off 2 proxy barracks for the entire game. If you go 1 proxy barracks, it needs to have a gas behind because you have to get into a factory so that you have vultures to defend yourself after this part of the push. This part of the push won't generally win because you need the follow-up. And because you need the follow-up, you can only make 3 Marines or 4 if you cut extra SCVs, right? So there you go. That's and then of course if you have 1 forward barracks, you can kind of do a lot of things behind that. You could go expansion, you could go gas. It's kind of up to you at that point. Okay, so Leta going to be rallying these out. The drone is just trying to get some damage. We can see here that it did get shot by the Marine once, and in fact this one's going to go back to hit it. He's trying to just get a shot on the Marines, right? Bring him down to 35 health from 40. But now 2 Marines are out. I love this play from True, honestly. Like, he's being so annoying. You already want these up here, but he doesn't want to take shots from the drone because then he's going to have to go back and micro too because the drone can moving shot the Marine. So, anyways, he has 3 Marines and he is going to push them up. Ooh, a lot of damage on the SCV. I got to tell you, I think True is way outplaying Leta right now. Like, denying or slowing this push down, a lot of damage on the SCV. With a build like this, you really want 2 drone kills, and I don't think he's going to quite get 2. I think he's definitely going to get 1. But I think that might be it. Well, he goes behind. Okay, so he goes behind and builds a bunker. This is a really good position. I actually was not aware of this on Radeon. So this is kind of cool to be seeing. Excuse me. There is a creep colony on the way. So what he's trying to do is make this just out range of the bunker and then just pound it down over time. And yeah, the sunken colony does have more range than the bunker does. So he does come out and start putting damage on it. If you can put 300 damage on it, it's going to die because it goes down 100 health, so then you just pop out and deal 1 more damage after it morphs. So that's what he's looking for right now. He's actually doing a really good job of it. Oh, just barely misses his shot there, so doesn't quite get it. Now, he should be able to hit this SCV. Like, there's a little micro trick you can do to reassign even if it's further away. But we don't see that right now. Putting a lot of damage onto that bunker. Let's take a look back at Leta's base. Okay, so he's gone add-on, and he is going for 1 starport, not 2 starports. So that's probably going to be dropship, but he might make a Wraith as well, probably after the dropship. Finally, the Sunken does kill off the bunker, so you can see the 1 Sunken is a solid defense against 1 SCV repairing. We have a Hydralisk Den coming up here. Excuse me. Oh, my gosh. So a Hydra Den... Yeah, we're going to be seeing, well, I'm trying to actually kind of figure it out. Like, I think he expects there to be Wraiths maybe afterwards or possibly just Vultures. And so this is a pretty good counter to both, I guess, right? Excuse me, not a bad play at all. It is going to be a Wraith, and it's actually Mines and Vultures. Okay, this is not what I expected. Like, what I was thinking was, like, maybe Speed... Maybe a Speed Vulture drop into a Wraith, something like that. But he's going to get the Wraith quickly. This is going to give him good scouting intel, as well as maybe pick off an Overlord or 2. This one probably won't be found. This is a really good location to put it. This one, we'll see if he can get it. I think he'll probably end up killing it, especially since the Hydras came over to fight this. Gives him some extra time for a few extra hits. So yeah, it looks like he should be able to pick that off. And he's got excellent Wraith Micro, of course. So picks that off, sees that there are, in fact, Hydralisks out. So now Leta can plan on how he wants to play against that. So we're going to have a few Vulture Mines going down. One thing to note is that there was no lair. If there was a lair, he could maybe have Overlord Speed on the way and go out here and very quickly move through the area, clear out the mines, and maybe do a counterattack. But the mines are going to keep him pretty safe. Just the fact that he has mines in general is going to make him pretty safe here. True, bringing his Hydras over. They do have that speed upgrade now, trying to zone out this Wraith to stop it from scouting. Ooh, does get the pick. He did see that the layer is on the way at least, so he knows that it's not just like a 2-hatch Hydra all in. Looking back at Leta's base, Science Facility coming up, landing that Rax. The biggest problem here is that he lost the Wraith, so he's not going to know if there's a Spire on the way, and I think there is going to be a Spire on the way. But he is getting the Science Facility, so he can go up into Science Vessels. But he hasn't started an academy, so there's no way for Leta to figure out 100% if there's mutas on the way. He has no flying units to go in. He has no academy to scan. So that's tough. That's tough. It's like, okay, well, what do you do? What do you do from here? I think you just turtle up. I think you get a radiate reasonably quickly, and you're going to have to make some missile turrets as well. So looking back at True's base, he does have a Spire on the way. This is one of those games where you just guess. I actually want to point that out because we've seen that before. There was actually a Leta game against Action on Eclipse in ASL years ago where, or maybe it was against Shine. I think it was against Action, though. Anyways, it was years ago. My memory of it's slightly fuzzy. But Leta got himself into a tough position, then just guessed like the next 2 moves of his opponent, guessed correctly, and won the game because of it. And this is basically what he's doing. He's hedging a little bit. He has a siege tank. He has siege mode, I believe. I saw it upgrade, and I'd be surprised if he canceled. So he's going to set up like a reasonable defensive position. Notice how he's putting a depot in front, less surface area, a little bit harder to get through this area if you have like a lot of lings or something like that. So I think he's done. What in the... I don't have any idea what just happened there. Maybe he ran 2 vultures in is my only bet. Like, I just saw the drones running back. That's really weird. It had to have been the vultures. I didn't see the vultures die, so maybe he just ran them in and these drones ran away and then the Hydras came down and killed them. Yeah, see, 3 in 1 kill. Okay, that makes sense. Anyways, whatever. Not honestly very impactful. So anyways, Leta right now is kind of guessing what True will do, and it looks like he is right. There's mutas coming out, right? A few Scourge as well. So he kind of assumes there must be Valkyries or Science Vessels or something on the way. Throwing down the missile turrets. The missile turrets are going to be ready. Really well-timed missile turrets considering the lack of scouting intel that he's been able to receive. Really pro-gamer moves here from Leta. All right, the Vessel's here. He's chasing. Okay, he gets the Irradiate, and it's actually the Irradiate turns out to be awesome. He did, look at how much damage he did to these mutas, and it was the top muta, so that was a big misplay from True. If he had pulled that top muta off quicker, that would be a pretty big advantage because you lost your first vessel. Losing your first vessel is incredibly painful. But Leta right now has made more than enough missile turrets. This looks fantastic for him right now. Look at that. 3 turrets there, 3 turrets there, 3 turrets there. He's got the bunker as well. He's got vessels still coming out. He's actually got a huge amount of gas. A ridiculous amount of gas. So we definitely want to see nonstop vessels. In fact, like probably a second port, but he needs to get more Marines up. Oh my God, he lost his second vessel as well. The vessel kills are doing so much for True right now. That is absurd that he got the first 2 vessels. I tell you, Leta's probably cussing in his seat right now. Like that is, if you keep your vessels, like vessels gain so much value over time, and losing the first one alone can oftentimes lose you a game. If you look at like the math of it and how that game ends up going, it's like, well, damn, this would have had, you know, by the time this game got out of control, this would have had 3 more Irradiates, right? Something like that, where it's like, so you would have had 3 less lurkers. Wow, that's pretty significant, right? By the way, he's actually clogged everything so badly his tank can't get out. But yeah, that's been pretty fantastic from True. Let's take a look at what True's doing here. Queen's Nest, Carapace upgrade. Dude, he's going to 6 hatch. What am I even looking at? I'm getting chills right now. This is crazy. Okay, so he's going Carapace. He's hatching more Hydras. He's going 6 hatch. This looks like Zerg versus Protoss right now. Seriously. Very, very different looking game here. From both sides. Really, really interesting because of that. Now, the engineering bay will be placed elsewhere. Siege tanks should finally be able to get out if he moves these Marines. Does have a vessel up here. Definitely, I would definitely use the Irradiate there. This is highly annoying, but looks like he wants to stim forward and push it back, but True is going to be able to pull back there. 4th base on the way. Just kind of expanding naturally to the south. Carapace almost done. Hive about halfway. So it looks like a Lurker Ling play here, and with that fast Carapace, that does make some sense. He's reduced that vessel count pretty significantly. There's still a lot of gas here for Leta. He's getting the second eBay, and I think now that he has 5 racks, we'll see a second starport go up. And yeah, we'll see if he can get that count up high enough so that he can really start to impose his will upon these lurkers. Now, a lot of Ling Lurker coming down here. This is funny that he does not have circling speed. We're getting circling speed at 11 minutes and 30 seconds right now. Oftentimes something you get upgraded in the first 4 minutes against Terran. Anyways, Zerg Defiler Mound on the way. Nice little spread of Siege Tanks. Right now, Leta is just kind of reinforcing his army, okay? He's getting himself together here. That's kind of what you see, right? So he has this sieged position to fall back to, picking off some Overlords. And here we go. See, he sees this coming in. Maybe this was a counterattack. Maybe this was to kill the tanks. But he comes up and burrows. That's a great couple of defense matrices. A ton of Scourge coming in. He actually loses all of his vessels. So he is going to need to scan, but I don't know that he has any scans here. The vessel reduction from True, second to none this game. He's killed 4 science vessels. And the fact that he forced the unsiege of 3 siege tanks when all he had left on ground was 8 lurkers? Dude, that was really well done. Superbly done. Okay, that just got a scan, that just got a scan, so that's correct. He was just below scan energy. Very, very painful. Now, another vessel comes out. The siege tank count is still high. A good amount of Marines still in here. He's going to try to push forward. Oh my God! Kills another science vessel. Absolutely loving this game so far. This is just such a treat, such a different looking match from what we normally have. Now, Leta is pulling back. I feel right now like this is almost True's game to lose. Okay, let me just take a quick look upgrade-wise. Okay, so he has +1 carapace, but he never started +2. This is probably the one big thing that Leta has going for him, is he got his 2 engineering base pretty quickly. He's going to have 2-1 against just +1 carapace. So being up 2 upgrades against Zerg is huge. Now, what I think we're going to need to see from him is adding in a lot of fire bats. I've actually talked about this lately, and a couple days ago even posted a cast on the channel about the new fire bat meta. We've been seeing late game heavy fire bat usage from Terran lately. I want to say I've seen it a few times years ago. Like I saw Flash do it once against Action. I casted a game on this channel with Bishop doing it once, if I'm recalling correctly. That was a really interesting game, like mass fire bat, and it's been popping up more and more. I feel like that's what he's going to need to do. If he has a bunch of 2-1 fire bats, I think he'll actually start to break through this stuff. The problem is his vessel count's so low, he can't counter the Defiler plate vessels. He loses another vessel! Another vessel picked off. Science facility under attack here. Might even end up losing that and having to remake that. Now, he does have a good siege tank count, but Darkstorm can push through siege tanks. So that could be a problem. A lot of Marines still being made. 2-1 is done. 3-2 already on the way. So Leta is so on top of upgrades, it's absurd. Another 2 hatches down here for True. Really producing drones. Dude, True is playing amazingly. I am really impressed with how True is playing this. Like, I normally think of him as a more fast-paced, aggressive Zerg, but he's playing like some beautiful macro here, honestly. Like, he has gotten himself into this really cool position. He has a ton of hatcheries. He's got 4 bases. He's controlling the map. He's reducing vessel counts. Really, really good plays. Now, he does get a plague off there, pushing this Bioforce back a bit. 3rd base getting ready to float down for Leta, who is sitting on the 7 racks. Again, is getting 3-2. Double port science vessel. I think he should add another port. And maybe even think about going into battle cruisers. Like, well, maybe not, actually, now that I'm looking at this. He doesn't know it yet, I think, but we now have speed Hydras. So we see ranged attack is on the way. This is going to turn into Hydra Lurker Ling Defiler from True. And that can be scary. And again, I guess I have to point back towards what I was saying before. You're probably going to need a decent contingent of fire bats to have any shot once that Dark Storm goes down. Or even before, with the amount of Lings being mixed in. Now, here comes an attack towards Leta's 3rd. Leta had a unit here. He is going to go ahead and scan. Okay, he gets a very good, very high-quality Radiate off here on the only Defiler in this army. But this base is still going to have to run. Like, you got to save this as quickly as possible. Bio comes down behind. The Lurkers are actually blocking Bio from coming in. I don't think he's going to quite get the command center. I think... Is he? I think you barely save the CC. Let's see. Marines coming down here. And yeah, that's going to be able to get up there. It's not even quite on fire yet. In the meantime, a counterattack coming out from Leta. This is a great move. He knows that a huge percentage of the army of True is actually attacking him right now. So he moves across the map in another direction, looking to kill some of these bases. This one is so drone heavy. It's crazy. This one's brand new, and he is going to go after this one. This one's going to be easy for him to kill. I'm unsure that he's going to be able to do anything to this base. So it should still be a 4-base True, but at least he's stopping him from the 5th base. Now some siege tanks coming down to help clean out this base for Leta. Command center still a little bit burning. You know, the game isn't over technically, but it feels very bad for Leta right now. Very, very, very bad. The fact that he couldn't keep this up in mining is really painful. Oh, look at that sneaky play. A couple lurkers being morphed. He hopes he just doesn't look. He might not. Okay, he sees it. He sees it. But yeah, he will be able to clear that. Very annoying stuff. But the supply is really eclipsing what Leta has right now. Leta's upgrades are kind of the only thing he's going to continue to have an advantage on. He's about to hit 3-2. We're on 1-2, so he's, again, just about to be up 2 upgrades. And that is huge. That is huge. There's no question about that. He does have good siege tank placement, a good spread of them. Unfortunately, losing his vessels down here as well. You know, this tiny bioforce that remains. It's under a dark storm, so I guess he'll be fine. But True has those 4 bases mining. Insane drone saturation. Regular drone saturation. Insane drone saturation. Insane drone saturation. Right? Like, he's really got a lot of workers, as you can see, up in the 60s. And he is macroing like a fiend because he has 2 hatches at every single base. So he's on 8 hatch macro right now. Now, Leta has those great upgrades. Look at this. Let's zoom out. This is a hard position to hit, right? You need dark swarms, and you're definitely going to lose some going in. I would love to see some more fire bats, though. I think that is the big mistake here, or one of the big mistakes for Leta that might give him a bigger chance to do something here. But yeah, it looks like he gets some good irradiates down. Plagues get cast, but he'll clear these lurkers. Like, the lurkers are super, super low. You know, some of these plague units do have to pull back. Taking a lot of damage there, getting some great irradiates as well. But look at the supply of True right now, 177. Whew. You know, if True ends up taking this, of course, he will be playing against Motive in the winner match, and Leta would be going against ZhanHun in the loser match. That would actually be a very interesting game. ZhanHun's extremely good against Terran. So looking forward to that as well. I think True right now is just trying to figure out how to kill Leta without throwing the game. I think a lot of players in this position will just start kind of attack moving and assuming that they're going to break them. But, I mean, these are great upgrades. Again, great siege tanks. I like that he's kind of taking his time here. He's getting a ton of lings. He's getting energy on these defilers. Getting ready to try to push in. He's taking extra bases. He's basically making it so that he can't lose, right? That's, instead of going to win the game, you know, I've said it before, I'll say it again. When you get ahead, get more ahead. That's exactly what he's doing. He's not trying to just finish it. He's taking the whole map. He's making this impossible to push. You know, plagues going down everywhere, just reducing the strength of the army. Dude, this Sim City is a nightmare. Still having a hard time getting tanks out of that main base. All right, 4th base being landed for Leta. That is important. If he's going to win this game, he's going to have to get the 4th and then more. Oh, God, a huge plague goes down. Every single vessel super, super low at this point. But you know what? He does not lose them this time. There are a couple lurkers here that catch some Marines trying to go out in a different direction. I think Leta was probably trying to send these to attack into the bottom left a little bit, since there are some bases being taken down there. Command center has to be lifted. Another big push. Oh, he's starting to reduce that siege tank count. Okay, the first fire bats of the game coming down, but, you know, too little, too late, I'd say. You know, the siege tanks have mostly been picked off. He's just got 3 left there. Okay, he does have 2 up here, but look, the supply is doubled. I think it's a matter of moments here before we get a GG coming out of Leta. Re-siege is here, but a Dark Storm will go down. And it really seems like there's nothing left. Burrows under this Dark Storm. Everything's going to get clean. Nothing can hit them. GG is called. On to the winner match. Motive versus True. So the winner's match, Motive up here in the top left of Troy, True in the bottom left. It's funny that it's on Troy. You know, Troy is kind of a crazy map. We might see something like, you know, 9-pool speed or overpool versus like 2-gate. I think that the map is much simpler than a lot of pros give it credit for, and we've seen that reflected in some pro games recently, like Light losing to 2-gate Zealot. Like, you know, it's just like you can't lose your geysers. If you lose them, the game's over. So it almost doesn't matter if you take a huge risk with your opener, because unless your opponent took kind of a crappy build, they're not going to hold it. Like, let's say that Motive goes 2-gate here, okay? And he just rallies Zealots nonstop. If Zealot goes for hatch first, he might just die, right? And even if he doesn't die, if he loses the geysers, he's dead. So it's like, yeah, you know your opponent has to do a crappy opening, so you can do a crappy opening, and then you just kind of battle over that. And then, I mean, if it turns out even, you transition, and that's it, right? I really think that's what this map should come down to. Now, that being said, this is an overpool, as expected. Motive, is he playing a mind game? He's not making anything. It looks like it's probably just going to be Forge into Nexus into Cannon, which is like, okay. You know, I guess economically you definitely have a better build than your opponent. Yeah, I can't see anything too strong about that. I still think that there are opportunities, though. Like, if you think of some of the, like, first off, Motive took away any chance for him to win the game at the beginning of the game, okay? Which is fine. You can play like that. In fact, I prefer honorable play, right? But, like, for instance, I feel like True could do something like, you know, these Mutalisk openers where you go Heavy Scourge and Protoss kind of has to sit on their 2 islands, like here and here, because they have cannons for their Corsairs. Would that give you ample time to take down these assimilators with the Mutas? I don't know. It starts to get more questionable that late into the game, though, right? So maybe that's not the play. Either way, it looks like Motive is a little bit nervous to go Nexus before Cannon, so he goes Cannon before Nexus. Not the end of the world for his build. It's still, you look at this build compared to True's build, I would give the edge to Motive here. Is continuing to keep his probe alive and just kind of check out what's going on, harass a little bit. Ooh, that's a lot of damage on that drone. Probe going to continue to try to jump in there. You got to be careful. You go to the center, you might just snap all the drones to attack you at once and you die. Meanwhile, we have True taking his 3rd base. This is at the natural of the bottom right base. Gateway going up. You know, I guess we're going to have a pretty standard normal game. One thing I should mention is that this is a ramped natural. So if you do get into a regular game, Hydra busts become much less powerful here, right? If you're trying to attack up the ramp, you have to use more move commands. You can't just like attack move or anything like that. And any Hydras below like this line right there will be missing shots, half of their shots uphill. So yeah, whenever you have a ramped natural, sometimes you'll see Protoss play extra greedy, and then sometimes you'll actually see something like 3-hatch Hydra because of that. So just want to throw that out there. Not exactly sure what we're going to end up seeing here. Yeah, Cybernetics Core still coming. Kind of a slow moment in this game. I hope you guys are enjoying the CNSL so far. It's going to be a great season, no doubt about that. And yeah, a big thanks to everyone who has subscribed to the channel. If you haven't subscribed and you're sitting there watching this, waiting for the game to kind of really get going here in the winner's match, I suggest you subscribe to the channel. That would be great. I'd love that. You know, I'm working really hard on ArtosisCasts. I have nothing but the grandest plans for it. This is a part of that, the CNSL, trying to put more games together, make it feel more like an ASL type tournament. Anyways, now we actually do have some action. Ling's trying to run by. That was a beautiful pro block. That was absurd. He gets every single Ling. Dude, that was really good. What a block from Motive. True cannot be feeling happy about that. Now Motive is going to move out with 2 Zealots. You have to make Lings against this. So you just lost all those Lings. They didn't really do anything. Now you have to make more because he's going to pressure you. And you're not even sure where they're going. They might go here. They might go here. Nothing being made here. So he's going to make the drones run probably. Ah, 6 Lings do get started. I think he's looking at it, he's like, shouldn't I see the Zealots by now? Okay, so we have a lot of Lings being made. Spire on the way. These 6 Lings should be able to deal with this. I wonder. By the way, you can get through here. Oh, I guess you can get through there too. LOL. The probes are trying to block and the Lings just run around. Oh my god, but the drilling is really good. He only gets 4 Lings in. Not 5 Lings, sorry. 5 Lings in. Not what he was looking for there for sure. He was hoping to get more than that. Comes up here, starts harassing the probes a little bit, goes after the pylon that's getting the Corsairs. You know what? We might see that Mutalisk play I was talking about. We don't actually have a second gas yet. Just to throw that out there. The 4 Lings still trying to go after the pylon. They do get pushed away from the Zealot. Or by the Zealot, rather. Overlord going to get picked by this secondary Corsair. The Corsair is actually doing some serious work right now. 4 Scourge on the way, so he does have to be careful about keeping this here too long. Uh-oh. Dude, is that a move where you send another one down if it's on attack move, it realigns onto this one? I don't know. I've never seen that before, but it might be. That, if so, sick move by True. Because he almost bought enough time for this one for the Scourge to pop out. Ooh, he probably wants that one pretty bad, but now he's going to lose this, isn't he? Okay, moving shot gets it. Oh my god. That is some sick micro. That is some sick micro, no doubt. Okay, the Corsair right now, just trying to escape, really trying to save its life. But the flanking Scourge are coming up. He is going to catch it. Oh, the juke! It's actually kind of crazy to see the little mini game of Scourge flying in for flanks, because Scourge have like a very funny way that they turn when you're giving them commands to attack something. So you can take like a sharp turn and make the Scourge kind of miss and retarget. Watch. Oh, it doesn't do it that time. Well, you already saw it once at least. Now, more Zealots coming down. Looks like he wants to put some pressure on over here. We do have 5 Mutas on the way. Carapace as well for these Mutalisks. There is +1 air attack on the way for Motive as well. Now the Zealots get down, start fighting some of these Zerglings. The Mutas go into town here on these Zealots. Now, I want to jump back as these Zealots are dying off and take a look at what the defense looks like. So second Stargate, okay. Cannon here to help the Corsairs. 5 Corsair. Couple cannons here. No cannons really in this line. So there's an area where damage can be dealt. Here, again, possibly here. But he's going to have to make a lot of Scourge and control them well. Oh my god, 2 of the Zealots actually get in the main. I just thought that these would be dealt with a little bit quicker than that, but looks like it wasn't going to be the case. The Corsairs come down and see those Scourge, so turn around. He might want to make another cannon. I really feel like he should have a cannon like here or something, and maybe even a secondary cannon here. If your opponent brings enough Scourge to hit all the Corsairs and the Mutas just jump on the cannon. See, he starts the cannon now, but like, this is damage, you know? Now, there are 2 cannons right here, so the Corsairs have some play. Sometimes you can chase, though, because the cannons will target Mutas first, right? So if you run with the Mutas onto the cannons, that can work out. But great micro so far here for Motive. True pulls back. He lost some probes, though. It's only 35 to 30. That's not quite the count you want. He does have that +1 air attack. Double Stargate Corsair is darn strong right now. Are we going to have more Mutas? Yeah, more Mutas on the way. Carapace is almost done. He hasn't really taken damage on his Muta and Scourge so far. Very, very little, right? Took like 1 shot from the Corsairs. So not a big deal. He's going to heal through that really quickly. Throwing down a couple Sunkens since he just, you know, he needs to actually fight the Corsairs, not incoming Zealots. So I like that he's putting some static D because of that. Has a couple over here. Has the 2 hatches there as well. And here we go. The Scourge. Are you going to be able to connect? Okay, some of the Scourge come up. Oh, God. This is going really well for Motive right now. Oh, my God. True absolutely did not take that fight correctly. Also, I think he might have been caught off guard. He did not know that there was 2 Stargate Corsair. So definitely a very bad moment here for True. True is going to take immense, immense damage. He's losing, like, so many Overlords. Look, he's going to kill these Mutas. He's going to kill 3 more Overlords. There's Scourge on the way, but even if every Scourge connects, he'll still keep killing Overlords. Look at this. Oh, man. And the Zealots as well have +1, so Lings popping out aren't doing that much. This game is looking pretty over. The Corsairs have just completely dominated at this point. Even attacks the Scourge. They do get a kill there as well. We're at 33 at 29. You can't make any more units. You have to make more Corsairs. 5 Overlords get started. There are a couple more Scourge. No, he should stay, man. Stay! You got to know that he's got to be supply blocked by now. But it looks like he will choose, you know, better part of Valor here and run away. Retreat! Comes back in, sees that really nothing's being made. +2 carapace starting from True. That seems kind of wild. I'm kind of surprised that we see +2 carapace, to be honest. Oh my god, a DT is going to walk in now. Our Overlord's about to pop. This is 1 Overlord and a bunch of Scourge. So the Scourge will pop out first. Going after a bunch of drones here. The damage continues to add up. Oh my god, he's hatching Scourge right under the Corsairs, and still the Corsairs are able to win. DT goes into the main base. More Corsairs are dying. Dude, he's still making 2 Corsairs at a time, by the way. Spire being targeted down. I think he's figured out that this is not going to be a Hydra switch. I think True feels like he might need to go all in with air. Yeah, I don't see this game going on much longer. It does look to me like Motive is going to be able to advance in first place in this group. And, you know, True will be awaiting that loser match. Third base is up. And, yeah, he's starting to transfer his probes. His Corsair count is still scary. Still DTs and Zealots being made. True has 30 drones. He's not mining from 2 of his bases. Yeah, I mean, with the amount of Corsairs, I think he's just going to GG as he's Scourge die. There's just nothing left. That's it. You can't do anything from here. Shocking if he continues. You know, I think he did need a Hydralisk gun at the end of the day. The double Stargate call was really fantastic here from Motive. Coming in with DTs now, killing absolutely everything in sight. More Scourge coming in. I mean, a lot of them are hitting. The +1 carapace, you can see the difference it makes, but it doesn't matter because he's producing so many Corsairs right now that if that's all you're spending your money on, it's just not going to end up working out. Pulls away against those. The DTs continue to kill absolutely everything here. GG. All right, so Motive has moved on. He will be playing in the round of 16. Now we're going to the loser match where we're going to eliminate either ZhanHun or Leta, and that starts right now. So down in the bottom left of Citadel, we have the best Chinese Protoss player. It is ZhanHun. And in the bottom right, we have our very fanciful Terran player, none other than Leta. Okay. I'm going to give my honest opinion here. I think ZhanHun is going to beat Leta. Leta, here is the problem with Leta. And actually, Leta's been working on this, so I have to give him extreme props. He's always been a very technical player. He likes tricky builds. He likes starports, right? He likes wraiths when he can. He likes dropships when he can. He likes, you know, getting vultures around the map a little bit, right? He likes to get big advantages like that. And that's a great thing to have in your play. But if you don't have that in the current day and age, backed up by superb macro play, you're not going to be able to beat anyone. That's just the way it is. Protoss players are very, very good at shutting down a lot of that harassment or just rolling with it and continuing to macro healthily. So you need that killer macro to win TVP nowadays. Now, like I mentioned, Leta has been working on that. I've actually seen him do coached streams with Light, who's probably the best macro player in the world, and specifically get tips and recommendations and try to get better at just filling out that part of his play. So I want him to succeed. I want him to get outside of what's been his entire style for basically his whole career and get into that really heavy macro play and just become, you know, one of these Terrans that can kind of do it all. Right? Like there are other players that play that do like dropships a lot. Like Rush uses dropships a lot, right? Or you know, Fantasy, obviously, a lot of harassment-based plays and everything. But yeah, Leta needs to kind of build that stable foundation, I think. And ZhanHun, he's gone Nexus first, and that's just the best build in the game. So, anyways, no, ZhanHun is just a very solid player. He has a good mixture of cheese and macro plays. You know, he gets a lot of good practice against Terran, obviously on the Korean ladder, and also Mihu, his country's best player, is probably his #1 rival. So, you know, it's going to be something that he's very good at. Now, looking at the positions and everything, okay? First off, that's a nice quick factory. Good timing on this. He's building Marines, and we're going to see if he continues to make Marines. He's not. Okay, he starts another Marine. That one feels a little bit late because the big question here, okay, first off, he put a pylon here, so there's a question for Leta whether or not a Forge will go down. If you can get your opponent to commit to a third depot here and you go Forge, that can become tricky for Terran. Notice the SCV going back and forth. This is exactly what's happening. There's the Forge. He built it as far away as possible. He wants Leta to commit to a rush, and Leta's not doing it. Beautiful. Chills, guys. Chills. Okay? I almost have tears in my eyes right now. This is beautiful. Let me talk about this for a moment. Okay? StarCraft has so much to it. And you got to keep track of like what the metagame is, what, you know, what's powerful at a moment, what can be done at certain times of the game by certain races and players and everything. And what we just saw, right? Leta scouted first ZhanHun's position, and ZhanHun went second pylon here to say, I might go Forge, because you can't do it with the third pylon. You have to do it with the second. I might go Forge, he says, right? So Leta has to decide. It's like, okay, well, am I going to rush this? Because if you rush it, you want to throw your third depot down. You want to make Marines on stop. You want to start Vultures. You want to send your SCVs. Now, that type of rush gets destroyed by the cannon. So he was running back and forth trying to check, like, okay, are you going Forge? And the probe actually came out here. The probe wanted to build the Forge here. He thought the SCV would stay in here, but the SCV came. So then they had to come back, and he just built it as far away as he could. He was hoping that Leta would just pull the trigger on a rush, and Leta did not. He bought himself enough time. He scouted well enough. It was beautiful. The amount of mind games, the level of understanding of these players about what's good and bad and how to try to get your opponent to do the wrong thing. It's beautiful. And this is why this is the best video game in the world, and there will never be a better one. Damn. All right. Let's look at what Leta is doing. So he took the command center in good time. He's going into mines very quickly. He's got one Vulture out here. He'll just lay some mines in this area, probably, maybe block a third base Nexus type location. In the meantime, Leta is taking a third on position immediately. Okay? This is not entirely uncommon. It can be a little bit hard based on what your opponent does. So what he's doing is he's laying a lot of mines, and he's keeping his Vultures up here because he wants to make sure you're not clearing easily. Like if ZhanHun just like right-clicks a Zealot and then right-clicks a Zealot and it walks through your 6 mines, and then he rallies units to your base, you'll lose. So he's got these Vultures in here, and they're like, okay, they can take shields off a Goon. They can damage a Zealot and make it so that one mine kills it. You know, there's a lot of different things that these Vultures are doing right now. Now, he's laying more mines. He did start a siege tank. He's starting his armory. This is incredible amounts of greed from Leta. So he's saying, you know what? This minefield is going to keep you in here long enough that I can not only go 3 command centers, not only build SCVs nonstop, but go armory before the second factory. This is definitely not something that I would try, and I would not suggest you guys to try at home. But if he can get that set up, if he can get a defensive spread that basically he'll probably have to set up like here to stop units from coming over here and stop units from coming down this way. But yeah, there's like a lot going on in this game. Looking at ZhanHun's base, he's gone 3-gate quickly. So the 3-gate quickly is a nod saying he's not exactly sure what's going on. If you go 3-gate quickly, your opponent could, like if they were trying to push you, like if they tried to do some sort of like siege tank based push against your cannon defense, the 3-gate oftentimes will break out of that and you'll have a huge advantage. So he's gone 3-gate. And look at this. He's trying to get around. Ooh, that mine actually connected. That was pretty reasonable. And you can see it's a little bit nerve-wracking right now. He does have siege mode. He sieges. ZhanHun going for the dive. Okay, he has still 4 goons, so he 2 shots at tank. He's going to go for this one. Oh my god, this is very bad for Leta. So a lot of the mines that Leta laid were over here, and those are not even being utilized. ZhanHun went the longer direction, assuming there would be less mines. He was 100% correct. He's killed 2 siege tanks and all the vultures. I think Leta might be dead. He's actually up in workers right now, which is amazing against a Nexus First like this. He does have this mining, but his production is so low, right? He got this very fast +1. That's not helping him. This is why I suggest not to do this at home. You know, ZhanHun made a couple moves that were maybe slightly risky, and it totally paid off. And look at this. He's got all these goons out here. Leta has to pull back. If he brings his Dragoons right now and goes here, I don't think there's recovery. I don't think there's a recovery from Leta. So the barracks has to be remade. Unfortunately, he gets a second add-on. It's going up to 4 factories. Worker count is actually still very similar. The mining is very similar. ZhanHun going into Reaver tech from here. Now he sends 1 Dragoon up, and Leta sees, he's like, uh-oh, the gig's up. So he will lift this. So he didn't find this nearly as quickly as what I was looking towards. If he had brought every goon up here at the same time, maybe, you know, you probably have to sacrifice some SCVs repairing to make sure he doesn't get the command center. You can get the command center up here. So anyways, during this time, he sends the SCVs back. He has 2 well-positioned tanks, throws a mine down so you can't just charge forward. Gonna land the command center, and we'll see how quickly he can retake this. With 4 factory, if you don't get supply blocked at all here, if you're just nailing out your units, you know, you get up to 6, 7 tanks, you can probably push up here. ZhanHun continues to rally more goons. He takes his 3rd Nexus here at the mineral base. +1 on the way. Observatory. All pretty normal stuff here. Shuttle speed hasn't actually been started. Just throwing that out there. It's not that it necessarily needs to be started or even has to go for shuttle speed. You know, it's very trendy to go shuttle speed. It's a very good upgrade, but you don't have to do it. You can just play like slow shuttle reaver to just kind of slow your opponent a little bit and then go into something else completely. Vulture speed coming up. You know, Leta has the 2 bases mining. He's got a good worker count. These are reasonable things about Leta's position. I'm actually really surprised because I was saying I thought maybe this game ends when he lost all his tanks and everything. It looked pretty bad. But like he's done really well. Now in comes the shuttle. Oh my god. He only gets 1 zealot out of there and almost loses the shuttle. Yeah, so that attack was no good. Very well placed turrets. The combination of both turrets is what allowed that. Like this one did a good job kind of zoning him back. And when he turned around, I think he was thinking about going towards this tank, but that turret said no. So very well done. The command center is actually floating down here. So what this tells me is he wants to push to this. Okay, we'll see how that does for Leta. Leta going up to 6 factory. I think that's 100% what he should be doing. Armory upgrade on the way as opposed to Starport. Again, 100% I think what he should be doing here. ZhanHun does start his speed shuttle upgrade. He's adding on some more gates as well. Citadel coming up. All right, pushing forward with those siege tanks. He does have a reasonable turret, floating some buildings around. That is helpful for not just visioning, but also tanking Dragoon hits. Sometimes you can do things like hide a missile turret or something as well. Little group of goons back here, kind of for a flank, or maybe to just zone things out. It doesn't look like it's going to do too much. Nice pick off there to slow this turret. That's always annoying. Ooh, that mine ends up paying off. All right, great job, Leta. So Leta has very slowly pushed up to this base. A couple things I want to mention. Number 1, in the last couple minutes, he's only made like 5, 6 SCVs. Okay, so his worker count is at a big deficit to his opponents. That is a problem, right? Like, if you're going to play 3 base, Terran, like, you need to have mid-60s probes. I mean, SCVs, you know? Otherwise, it's like, it's going to be hard. How do you build turrets? How do you get all these going? How do you get your 4th base up and actually put workers at it? His saturation just isn't fantastic. As you can see, the main is good. Not fantastic. Not fantastic. And of course, you want to have if you have 60, then you can transfer the extras to your fourth base when you take it. Anyways, he is starting to push, right? He's set up a good minefield. He's got some turrets. Starting to push in this direction. Now, this is pretty common that this base didn't get taken by ZhanHun. Like that might actually end up being a Leta base if he succeeds in his push in this direction. I think it wouldn't be a terrible call for him to just try to push to here. If Leta can slowly but surely push himself here and get like a really entrenched position, he could cut off the circulation. That is a huge move, right? If you push to here, it's and really super reinforced, and then you just push a little bit more and the ramp is covered. Would like to see that. ZhanHun right now takes a fourth base, sending his probes up there already. We do have a few vultures running around. This is a very good timing for Leta. He catches the probe, so he knows that the fifth base is what ZhanHun is thinking about right now. Starport is coming up. It's a little bit late for those 2-2 upgrades, but, you know, better late than never. The Reaver's trying to slow this push. It does seem like this is Leta's overall idea, is to kind of, you know, take over this area. And I do wonder if he's going to think about this as his fourth base. A little bit hard, you know, because if they break your front, they break this too, and you just kind of lose the game. But I think that that's the position Leta's in right now, where it's like, you know, this is not unplayable where he's at. He has built a few more workers. Okay, 50. It's okay. His upgrade's a little bit late. He has good supply though, right? He has a pretty good setup. ZhanHun getting into Psystorm. He is in the meantime, you know, a little mini game up here. Vulture's trying to deny expansion, trying to clear those mines and everything, get a probe up. He is going to go ahead and take some more bases. And as he gets the fifth base, this is the important moment, right? 4 base against 3 base is quite playable for Terran. 4 base Terran can kind of just continue to play as long as they have upgrades, right? As long as you have like reasonable upgrades going. But now that he's getting up to 5, after 5, the like 6 and 7 comes super easy. The 5th base is the last base that you really have to think about taking as Protoss, right? So like this is kind of the moment where it's like, okay, Leta, either take a new base, do a push. You have to do something. You can't let it be 5 base versus 3. It's just too big an advantage for Protoss. Now, ZhanHun comes in. He's going to clear this minefield. There's only a few tanks. So he actually eats several shots. That was actually pretty well done, I think. I think that was pretty optimal from him. Still pushing over here with tons and tons and tons of units. You know, this setup, these tanks are kind of helping this area and kind of helping this area. So Leta's pretty flexible on where he can go defensively here. Now, it looks like ZhanHun may want to try to break this 3rd base location. Let's see. Brings in 2 shuttles. He has High Templars in this one. Let's see what his storms end up looking like. Okay, excellent, excellent storm. Another great storm. They're blowing up multiple siege tanks. Look at that siege tank over the wall getting stormed, but does not finish it off. You can see the barracks actually taking hundreds of damage here, by the way. The Dragoons continue to push forward. As the Zealots get cleaned, this becomes very easy to clean up. So the Zealots are gone. ZhanHun should probably run. He's not going to get the command center. He's only going to lose more units by staying here. And as you can see, he is, right? Like, there goes down a High Templar, a couple more Dragoons. This is not valuable anymore. That's like Protoss in every matchup, man. Once you lose like Zealots, you have to run your goons and everything away. It's important against Zerg, against Terran. The goons are like your long-term unit. Like, these have to gain you value over time. You can't just throw them away like you can Zealots. Okay, Leta continuing this push. Probes running. He's starting to get that position we were talking about before. Ooh, I love the position here. This is cool because his rally is here. So this makes it so that, like, and look, between this and these, where can Dragoons stand? There might be like 1 pixel here for a Dragoon to stand to attack. This is awesome. This layout from Leta is insanity. Look at these hits he's getting. He's shooting over the wall a whole bunch. He doesn't have a lot of vision here. Oh, he almost has D-Matrix too. A D-Matrix on this tank would be huge right now. But he does attack forward. Unfortunately, doesn't quite have that energy. The Zealot's being picked off super, super fast. High Templar coming out. Good storm right there. Drops another. Doesn't get the storm off. Unbelievable setup from Leta. I am getting chills once again. It might be drafty in here, or these guys might be playing an excellent game. I'm not entirely sure right now. Well, actually, I am sure. It's an excellent game. It's not drafty in here and all. I have my window closed. So, listen. This setup. He's taken the 4th base. He's so close to shutting off the reinforcements from this main. ZhanHun is building some gates up here. He should build a lot of gates up here, because I feel like he's going to have to produce out of a different base at this point. Because you can see Leta slowly but surely he's getting into position. Look at this. He's going to attack this base. You have to pull the probes. So he's going to get a base kill. And this here shuts off reinforcements. Okay? The rally point is here. This is a wide area, so there's still opportunities for ZhanHun to make a big army and attack in. In the meantime, ZhanHun trying to clear out here again. But again, this layout of units is so difficult to attack into. I am literally stealing this. This is the best thing I've ever seen. Like, he is not letting anything in. An absurd formation. All right, now ZhanHun coming out once again. Oh, man. Just wild right now. Coming in, trying to break everything. This is so important for ZhanHun to get through here. Now, he pushes it back. It saves this Nexus. I don't think that Nexus is ever going to mine again. I don't think anything's going to happen with that Nexus. And that felt too cost inefficient. You can see now Leta starting to dominate as far as the supply goes. I got to say, I feel like I've learned a lot this game. Leta has put out, like I was talking before, how he's like kind of a fanciful Terran. And he was, in a way, getting that 3rd command center. But the way that he, like, wasn't mining from his natural or that base orbit, GG. Dude, unbelievable. Unbelievable from Leta. He goes on to the final match against True. GG. All right, so we're going to be going into the final match of Group A. Right now, Motive has already moved on. ZhanHun has fallen in that losers match, and we are finishing it off with a rematch between Leta and True. So let's get into it. In the top left, our Terran player, probably the most famous player from the group, it is Leta. And his opponent in the bottom right, a very good Zerg. You know, maybe more accomplished in StarCraft 2, but doing well in StarCraft 1 so far. It's True. We're on Neo-Dark Origin. You know, there's a good variety of stuff that could occur here. Wouldn't be surprised if Leta goes for something like a 2-port Wraith. This map is a little bit hard to play straight up. Like, you need to make a lot of missile turrets to stop Mutila's Craftsman here. So that could be a little bit of an issue that Leta wants to think about. Maybe he wants to do something cheesy because of that. Right now, it's looking like we might just get like a wall. That's what it looks like right now. Okay, so he's going to go 2-port Wraith. How do you know, Artosis? How can you tell? Well, I just went up here and read Leta, and then I saw where he sent the SCV for the depot. And this makes a Zergling tight wall. If you go depot barracks, the Marines pop out on the inside, and you do that so that you can go 2-port Wraith. Like, there's not a lot of reasons to do it otherwise, honestly. I guess any one-base tech it can be okay with, but with Vultures, you'd be more likely to have to lift this multiple times, and that's like, you know, it's just, this looks like it's going to be the 2-port. So we'll see if that is what he goes for. I mean, it's Leta's kind of signature move, so I am somewhat expecting that. Taking a look down here at True's base, looks like we have about an overpool. Not too surprised. A lot of people are using overpool against Terran nowadays because 8-Racks got more popular, but honestly, 8-Racks is dying off a little bit in popularity. This is a very normal thing in the metagame, right? Something that becomes really popular, people get really good against it and kind of hedge their builds against it, and then it starts to go away. And as it starts to go away, they start unhedging their builds against it, if that makes sense. Like, you might be doing more 12 hatches or whatever, and then suddenly it makes sense to bring in more of the 8-Racks or something like that, right? That happens in all matchups all the time, including mirrors. So, yeah, that's just, you know, part of the back and forth. So, like, if your opponent is doing overpool a lot, it's better to not 8-Racks, basically. Okay. Factory here. So the reason the factory is down here for Leta is because he wants to float it out and make a vulture and maybe get that past. I think most likely he'll go to the back entrance area over here. and try to hawk the vulture over. That's what it looks like to me, because generally this is not going to be hard for True to intuit what's going on and put a sunk in here. Whereas this is going to be a little bit harder. So you can see he's actually set up a Ling. He knows that Leta's kind of cheesy and does some technical aggressive builds. So he has a Ling just kind of watching it. I think that's a very smart move. I wouldn't mind an Overlord over there or whatever too. Or instead of the Zergling. The Zergling won't really stop a vulture. But anyways, we have the factory about to finish, so that'll lift out in a moment. And down comes an SCV. And notice how he builds the 2 starports on the bottom of his base. This is so that they rally quicker to his opponent. So this is a very, very, very aggressive play. Now, that being said, Leta is probably... He might be the best player at transitioning this build into regular or somewhat regular macro play. So I just want to throw that out there as a possible option. Now, this SCV is being chased. Notice he is making a sunken right away. I kind of wonder, like, what his plan is for stopping the vulture. Because the vulture will come over and kill this Sling before it can really move. And then you'll pop it really quick. And it's like, okay, are you just going to make a group of Lings here? Like, the vulture can do well against that. So it feels like even though he's going to scout this quickly, it's still going to be a little bit difficult to stop. Well. Okay, so he's about to see this. Okay. Sees it. See, he runs up to kill the Ling. See, gets it right away. And here we go. He's going to go ahead and pop that. Beautiful. Gets right over. And yeah, let's see what this looks like with True trying to stop this. He is making some more Lings. Right now, he's just trying to hold the ramp. So he's trying to make missed vulture shots here and also maybe get a little bit of damage. And, I mean, he gets 30 damage off on it, which is not terrible. 4 more Lings on the way. See, this is still pretty effective, right? It definitely, I'm watching this, and I think that this is a quality vulture. Like, even if he only gets 1 drone, like this is lost mining time, a drone. These are all Lings that could have been drones. And all the Lings are dying as well. So the vulture has been pretty insanely good. All right, doesn't quite get that drone, so that's good at least. Mutas are on the way right now. Picking off a little bit more. Look at that, 9 kills. It's mostly Zerglings, but there's at least 1 drone kill so far. Wraiths coming in now. The Wraiths being rallied down very quickly. You can see all the drones already pulled from there. And he gets behind the mineral line. Oh, man. 10 kills on this vulture. That is painful. 11 kills. Gets yet another drone. Now, the Wraiths did have to get pulled back. Now, Cloak is on the way. He is building some missile turrets. The missile turrets are just like a light addition to the Wraiths. You add like a missile turret in, or even like a few Marines, and the Wraiths start to beat the Mutas. So, you know, just having like a little bit of static D can make sense when fighting in a position like this, right? It's not like he has enough Wraiths right now. He doesn't even have Cloak ready. It's like 6 Mutas. You wouldn't lose anything basically killing these Wraiths. So the Mutas fly over, and they're getting a bit of a scout. They see that Cloak is on the way. He doesn't know how far along it is. So just something to note there. I'm excited to see Leta's Wraith micro. Because I've seen a lot of people doing this lately. So I feel like I have a pretty good feel for how good everyone is at Wraith micro. But I actually haven't seen Leta in a little bit with this. So let's see if he is better than, equal to, or lesser than some of these other players. Right? Like one that comes to mind, we see Bishop do this a lot right now. And he's really fantastic at it. All right, here we go. Getting ready. He has the trapped SCV there. And here we go. 5 Wraiths do one-shot a drone. Right? Yeah. Well, if they all shoot at exactly the same time, because Zerg gets an instant point of heal, so you actually want 6, right? Because they do 8 versus ground. Drones have 40. 5 times 8, 40. So they literally, the lasers have to hit at almost the exact same second. That's why you need 3 vultures to one-shot a drone, because it's really hard to get vulture shots to line up perfectly, and they have to line up perfectly to one-shot a drone with 2 vultures. And, you know, so anyways, he has more Wraiths now. And let's see, he's coming in. Muta's being microed here at the natural. All right, gets 1. Cloaks. He's taking a lot of damage already. One of them almost dead, the other about halfway. A little bit more, actually. Damn. Very, very low. More missile turrets being made. Surprising the amount of turrets that he's making. I feel like that is not, excuse me, not the norm to see this many missile turrets. But, like, this makes it so he literally can't be attacked. You try to come up here with mutas, and he'll slam you for it. So, it looks like we're going to have a forward bunker. Leta getting ready to expand. He'll probably go into bio from here. I've only seen, like, one game where someone went mech off of one of these Wraith openers. It was, actually casted on this channel. It was Light doing it on Retro. And it didn't quite work. It was really interesting to see because no one does it, but it does feel like this transitions into bio a lot better. So right now we have 11 Wraiths. So that's a full group because you want it grouped with an SCV so they stay stacked. No need to get more than 11, and you can see he is just kind of teching out of that now. Muta Carapace almost done. Overlord Speed just now finishing. So those two things put together are going to do fantastically, right? Like, it's going to make the battle against the Wraiths very, very much better. Comes up, sees a couple missile turrets, he sees the bunker and everything. This is not something that you can really attack. Like, I mean, you're on, like, Muta, Scourge, maybe some Zerglings. This is such a strong defense. I don't know how you would end up doing much of anything there. All right, the Wraiths get cloaked. He's bringing up even more mutas now. So it's like 13 mutas or so. Wow, big volley right there. Wasn't targeted, though. You can see it was spread over a lot of mutas. All right, so tries to come in with those Scourge. He does end up getting one, but that's a lot of damage. Dude, not even close. Not even close. He had 13 mutas. He's down to 10. So, like, 3 mutas at least, or maybe it was even more than that, but he's lost 3 to 5 mutas right now. All of his Scourge are gone. He killed 1 Wraith. Attacking into that, definitely not the right move. Feels like he's overcommitting a little bit here for sure. All right, so Science Vessel's on the way. Another Wraith as well wants to fill out that pack once again. No big surprise from Leta. Microing very well here against those mutas. I am not liking the position right now for our Zerg player. This really is feeling pretty good. It just feels like he's playing wrong. It's not that he doesn't still have opportunity here. He's not super high on drones, but he does have the 3rd hatch, right? Like, there's some redeeming things. He has the +1 carapace. That's really good, right? He still has a good amount of mutas. I just feel like this approach is wrong. There's so much anti-air here, plus SCVs for repair and to build more. It doesn't feel like he's making any headway. And as Irradiate's ready, he's about to have Irradiate. There it is. This is going to be a slaughter if he goes in there again. If you get an Irradiate on one of the middle Mutalisks, oh boy. That is painful. Look at the amount of damage dealt. He has lost so many Mutalisks this game. And in fact, the Wraiths will just start chasing him down. Now, they do have to turn around as some more reinforcements come up, but this is starting to look very bad for True. Now it almost feels like, well, there's still Wraiths being made. Academy just got started at 11 minutes. So, like, no real plan here for, like, a quick bio attack or anything to go with this, which is actually a bit more common than what he's doing. But because it's nonstop Mutalisk attacks, it makes sense, right? Like, you may as well refill those Wraiths. You may as well just get a few Science Vessels in there. And the fact that he's got 39 workers across the 2 bases, and I'm looking here, and it's like, okay, we're just now droning up a bit as, you know, we've had like 9 drones in the last minute or so here from True. It doesn't feel very promising. Now, these mutas, no more upgrades for them on the way or anything like that. You know, it'll be a bit before there's like a decent amount of bio out. You have to, you know, the Academy just finished. You have to get stim. That's 50 seconds. It's what, 63 seconds for range. So it's going to take a little bit before he's got like all of his upgrades and everything ready to go. In 2 minutes, he'll have like a decent force and probably can move out. I feel like you need to drone right now. Make sure you got your drone count up where you want it and get into like, I don't know, lurkers here. Because it, like, how else are you going to hold? You're going to need Sunkens here and Sunkens here and Sunkens here? None of this, it looks very promising. Now, he is making more hatches. You know, maybe the play here could be, like, Muta Scourge with, like, a bunch of Zerglings or something. Because he is going for quite a few hatches. Like, he's going 5 hatch really quickly. Definitely we're seeing more hatches being made by True than most players. Wraith flies over, getting really good intel right now. Cloaks, try to stay alive as long as possible. Checks out, the Hive is on the way. Trying to save that Wraith. I don't think it's going to make it, but we'll see. Oh, the Overlords didn't fly forward, so yeah, it is going to make it out of there. You got to kind of lead where the Wraith is going with your Overlord since it is faster. So now there's going to be 4 Irradiates by the time they attack each other again. Bio count getting very reasonable. +1 still coming. I got to assume that he's been, that he already has stim and that he got range. We got 12 Wraiths sitting around. No, even 13. This is not good for True. Now, True is adding a lot of Scourge. Okay. Oh, no. Range just started, by the way. Okay. And he got his second Engineering Bay. Oh, that's weird. I'm very surprised at the second Engineering Bay at this time, but okay. I'm on board. Zergling's speed is still coming. He's making a ton of lings. So that is the plan. He's going to try to overwhelm this, like swarm this army, which is not a bad choice. If you look at the supply, there's actually more army supply right now, or at least even army supply for True. And Zerglings are only half a supply. So, like, it's a pretty reasonable army. The thing is, the Radiates and the Wraiths are going to do so well against the Mutas. Like, you really need some good Scourge hits, and you need your Lings to help clean up the Marines. This is going to be a big moment in this game right now. Like, you have to take this engagement perfectly. Here comes the Bile. God, this is not an angle that's easy to attack either. Irradiates go off. Okay, he is picking off some of these, flying the Radiated Mutas over. Oh my God, most of the Lings didn't attack. Half the Mutas didn't attack. And he loses a huge amount of his force. Okay, this game, unfortunately, not going well at all for True. He's still trying to fight, but not the best engagements from him. I think both at the natural and at this base, some kind of bad engages. So that is going to be that. And that means that Group A is done. And we have Motive and Leta moving on to the round of 16. ZhanHun and True, unfortunately, not going to make it through here. I think they both put out some really reasonable games. But gotta say, definitely very impressed with Motive and Leta. Guys, I hope that you enjoyed Group A of the round of 32 of CNSL Season 7. Thanks for watching.